Horror Hangout podcast where three bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Kondo of Gate, and I'm joined by my two regular co-hosts, Mr. Whoever wants to go first,
Mr. Andy Conduit Turner,
and Mr.
Ben Errington.
Swap those voices
first
around.
episode, you fucked
each
it.
other.
So
Yeah, exactly. That's so confusing.
Even I'm confused.
Mixed up, you know.
Yeah,
How
you
is
guys have a good
everybody?
week?
Yeah, it's not been too bad.
In a week.
Not too bad at all. Had some
Yeah.
snow. That was nice.
Yeah, we had snow. Yeah, we had a bit of that.
Yeah, that was lovely. That was fun.
Never ending.
Your beard's on its way back, Luke.
It's healing.
1 week.
Yeah, 1 week's growth. Feels better. I feel like this kind of length is quite nice, actually.
Manageable.
Yeah, I can survive.
Don't want to go crazy.
I've got some reviews. Last week, I think I said I was going to read a couple of reviews out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
If you guys are amenable, meanies. Okay. Well, I've picked out three. This one from Mr. Day. Late last year, he put, "Love horror. You should love this. After randomly finding this recently, I've now lost about 2 weeks of my life going through all the episodes. This is great stuff with two very likable and knowledgeable chaps discussing some classics." He must have not listened to all the Andy episodes.
even that already did, but he only likes two of us.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
That one guy could just
Fucking what a piece of work.
What a turd.
cancel.
Even the films I've not seen made for an interesting listen. Would love it if you visited some of the more controversial films, such as a Serbian film, I don't know about that, and Cannibal Holocaust. Which, Mr. Day, you're in luck. Because in a few weeks we will be doing Cannibal Holocaust with Zobo with a shotgun.
We won't be doing a Cannibal Holocaust. We'll be...
Well, I had to get
Well,
involved.
that's a good thing though. If you Holocaust all the cannibals, are you doing a
Are you
service?
doing the cannibal? Are you
Suppose so.
eating them?
But then again, is it just it's a disease, that they've got, and they just need to get better, They might be eating people, but they're still human. At the end of the day, just Holocaust them all. Come on.
Oh, it depends. It depends, I guess, if they're doing it as a cultural choice or as an illness. If they are dead into not holocausting, obviously you mean one that's into holocausting, get rid of them.
Yeah.
But
You know which
them
guy you don't
cannibals.
like that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a
Cancelled like
little bit of good in everyone, and in the cannibals, it's the bit of the other person that they ate.
Yeah. So I've never actually seen Cannibal Holocaust.
No, I haven't. You say Cannibal Hanukkah.
Hanukkah. Jesus. Quite controversial. Someone, Edward Harvey, actually messaged me this week and said there's loads of animal cruelty in it. So you can watch a non-animal cruelty cut, apparently. And I didn't know, so I looked into it, and yeah, there is. Lots of animals get killed in it. So,
Yeah.
Depends how you feel about that.
I'll look into that.
We'll look into that. Or we might discuss it, It might be an interesting talking point to discuss as it's a controversial film. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the month. Obviously, after today's episode, we've got a couple of more episodes between that. So that'll be something nice to look forward to. But what a lovely review. Was that the end of the review?
That's the end of that. Oh, he put A plus. He gave us an A plus, which is
Cool.
it's a pretty good rating.
We rarely give any films A plus on this podcast.
Yeah.
So for you to give our podcast A plus means a hell of a lot. Thank you.
I'll put that on the spreadsheet, Mr. Day. If you do a review, just mention which two of it is you like. Hopefully it's me.
Otherwise the spreadsheet would be
Do a couple of quick ones, a couple of smaller ones. SJ Mariner 9 put, "The best podcast for horror film fans. This is one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. I found them during a binge of horror movies, wanting to hear people's thoughts on them. I love the comedic breakdowns of the movies, and the trivia is a nice touch."
Oh yes, the trivia. It is a nice touch.
The name game is a revelation across the podcasting world, I understand.
Yeah.
I heard you guys doing your version with the Valkyries guys the other day.
That's a good point. You guys, if you haven't already, go check out the Valkyries podcast. Me and Ben were on. Was it this week? No, it was last week, and Andy will be on this week.
Yeah.
So if you listen to both podcasts, you'll get double Andy action this week, as well as double Ben and Luke action last week. Who could
Might be a
want
bit
anything more or less than that? might be a bit much.
It's like you live with us. You will have heard me talk as much as my wife does in an average week, I imagine.
Last week's episode was 2 hours long as well, so there's going to be a hell of a lot of content for your ear holes.
Yeah. Last review. This one wasn't a 5-star review. I thought I'd throw in one that wasn't.
It's only fair, yeah.
Yeah. Dreaded pirate Neem. He is a pirate, so you can't listen to what he says too much. It grows on you. 4 stars. During this pandemic, this series is a breath of fresh air. Hosts Wax and Wayne amuse about movies, horror, and sometimes video games. Their guests are odd, and my favourite episodes are the trivia nights.
The guests are odd. Wait a minute.
I'm not sure to take that.
Wax and Wayne. Which one's Wayne and which one's Wax? Terrible joke. Sorry.
And Muse. Wax and Wayne amuse about horror movies.
Andy could be Muse.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for
nice.
leaving the reviews.
What I like about that though is someone says it grows on you, which means that they've listened to one, weren't so sure, and then they've come back for potentially more than one. Well, obviously more than one, but who knows how many more? And it's grown on them, so that is quite nice that you haven't just listened and gone, screw this.
If anyone's listening now and it's not, and you're not really into this yet, you just need to listen to more. It's like when you first eat like a new food for the first time. Oh, not sure about that. Like you've had a Twiglet, and it's like, I like this. Better eat a few more. Find out.
Twiglets are weird at first. I wasn't a fan of peanut butter the first time I had peanut butter. I didn't understand it, but now I think it might be my favourite food of all time.
It's an important food stuff. Sometimes a spoonful will just satisfy, won't it?
Yeah.
Where do you stand on the texture of your
crunchy
peanut butter?
You've got to have some crunch in there.
I'll go for a bit of both.
The other week, I don't want to trigger anyone.
Not too crunchy because then that's just peanuts.
A few weeks back, we had crunchy peanut butter on the shopping list. As a substitution, they put smooth.
Oh, that is
sacrilege. Absolute pieces of work.
I remember. Did you make a complaint? Yeah, did you? You can call up and they'll refund you, right?
It was too late then. It was the only peanut butter we had. So,
so you waited.
I've just had it, but just not enjoyed it the whole time.
Yeah.
And at one point, I did go and buy some peanuts and smash them up and put it into the peanut butter that I was spreading because I couldn't take it anymore.
You could just, most of the way there, just use your imagination for the crunchy bits. Just pretend to chew.
Imagine Luke running a restaurant. He's just like, you didn't like your dinner? Well, just imagine it was delicious, all right?
You're halfway there. There's food in your mouth. Just pretend it's better than it is. Yeah. They say that most of the taste is in the nose, so if you pop a peanut up your nostril.
Yeah.
Well, actually, don't do that because you might. I was going to say choke, but it's up your nose. But yeah, you might choke.
End up on Holby City or something.
Yeah, Holby City, casualty, or doctors if you want a daytime.
He's got a peanut allergy that's located just in the nostril.
Just in the schnoz.
Just in the schnoz.
Schnostril.
Yeah. Have we got any horror news from
this week?
I
got a couple of bits. So one story that I saw just now, literally just now, is for real this time. An actual Cloverfield sequel is now in the works from Bad Robot and Paramount. I mean, 10 Cloverfield Lane is a prequel / companion piece. Is that what we'd say that is? And the Cloverfield Paradox was mental, if I remember right.
Did you guys like the Cloverfield Paradox or not?
I thought it was okay. I had some cool moments.
I don't remember much about it, apart that it was in space, but I remember not liking it. But,
you might get a box of worms in your tongue if you're not careful.
Was that what it was?
Is that what happened?
Yeah. Isn't there like a dimensional shift and then a big box of worms is in his tummy?
It's not massive monsters. That's all everybody wants, right? So maybe they've seen the hype for Godzilla versus Kong and they've gone, we got a big bad of our own. So Cloverfield sequel. So apparently Cloverfield sequels have essentially been unrelated movies, loose ties to Matt Reeves' 2008 movie. That could be a good one to do on this podcast, we've never done that, have we? And now it's been confirmed that there's going to be a new Cloverfield movie. That's pretty much it. There's no other major details on this story. But there we go.
Well, that's Cloverfield enough. I'd watch another one.
I liked it. I'm a fan of the first one.
Yeah.
And 10 Cloverfield Lane is really good.
It's great. Yeah.
Another story is a movie called Adrift. Darren Aronofsky and Jared Leto are reteaming for ghost ship horror movie from the writer of The Ring, called Adrift. We've had a few movies called Adrift, haven't we, where people have ended up in the sea, can't get back on their boat, or surrounded by sharks.
Sorry.
What was that?
We had a cat called Adrift.
What?
Growing up, we had a cat called Drift. Not too sure why we called it that, but we were kids.
That's quite strange.
Like the chocolate bar.
Like the chocolate bar, yeah, like a drifter.
Yeah.
Right.
Like love a drifter.
Love a good drifter. So Darren Aronofsky and Jared Leto, obviously they teamed up before for Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a
team. Requiem for Requiem for a team in the sea. The story is set in the dead calm of the open sea, where a fishing boat discovers an abandoned yacht with a strange distress call. A deckhand agrees to take lone control of it while it's towed into the port, but soon discovers why the rest of his more experienced crew members call it a ghost ship. So I'm assuming Jared Leto is the deckhand. I wonder what stuff he'll do to get into character of being a deckhand. Literally just go out on a fishing trawler for 2 years.
Just live at sea for a while. Yeah.
This isn't the first mention of Jared. Well, sorry, it is the first mention of Jared Leto on this podcast. It won't be the last, because I've seen him in something this week, so I have a lot to say about him. But yeah, that might be interesting. Darren Aronofsky not ever done like a conventional horror movie, has he?
Yeah, that's what makes me think. I don't think it sounds more conventional, but
yeah,
he never does that, does he? So, and I'd be quite interested to see what he would do if he. I don't know. I want to see him do more of his Pie, Requiem for a Dream, Black Swan sort of that kind of horror. He does that really well.
Yeah,
psychological craziness.
I quite enjoyed Mother as well. I know it got mixed reviews, but
yeah, I'm gonna watch it again. Need to watch it again.
Yeah. Another story: Scott Derrickson, director of Sinister, is headed back to the horror genre to direct The Black Phone for Blumhouse and Universal, and Ethan Hawke has apparently been cast in it as well. So he obviously loves a bit of the old Hawkeye. So apparently the teaser for the plot is a kidnapped kid, a creepy soundproofed basement, an ancient disconnected phone. Then, when night falls, the phone rings, but it's disconnected. Wi-Fi.
It's ancient.
Mobile.
Yeah.
Just a mobile. Yeah. It's an ancient disconnected phone. Well, mobiles have been around since the bloody late 80s, mate. So
it's a Nokia 3210.
It's a 3210. It's still running.
It's still got battery.
I'm not surprised
it's still got a 50% of battery. You can still play Snake. If you're bored in the basement, get Snake on. Good times.
Someone's walking down the stairs. You're just like.
And the last story I saw was, considering we reviewed John Carpenter movie last week. Story here says he's leaving the door open, metaphorical door, I assume, for a return to the director's chair. Metaphorical chair, no, literal chair, sorry. I'm working on a couple of things, he says. So, what do you think of that? When's the last thing he directed? It wasn't the one with Elisha Cuthbert, was it? What's it called?
The Ward. Is it Elisha Cuthbert?
I think there's something else. I think I figured there's something else.
I don't think
I think I've seen that film, The Ward.
Yeah,
Amber
I think I remember none of the details.
It's Amber Heard. Yeah, I think I got mixed up with a different sort of film from that era. 2010. So it's been 11 years since he's directed a feature. He's got to have a couple more in him, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's a name I would instantly be interested in seeing, whatever the film is, certainly. So you leave the door open, John.
Well, between The Ward and his movie before that, Ghosts of Mars, was like 9 years.
I like it. Well, I've not seen it for a long time. I think I was like 13 or something, and I was the right age to appreciate Ghost of Mars.
Yeah, I don't dislike Ghosts of Mars.
I definitely need to rewatch that. And I've had vampires on my radar for so long. I really need to just watch it. It's got James Woods in it, though, isn't it? And he's a bit of a douche, so I feel a bit
I've always
like
liked vampires. I've always liked the world. It's got a kind of Western. I like the whole opening scene with the vampire hunters and the way they
reminds me of
kill that
Fantastic
little
Four.
nest. Yeah.
Just that sort of sun-soaked, blood-soaked Western vampire shit.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So that is it for horror news. Unless anybody's seen anything else this week.
Ben, I don't believe we've got through horror news, and you haven't mentioned for you. I thought would have been the big story of the week.
I think I know what you're going to say.
The exact height of the tall vampire lady.
Yeah, I did see that this morning. That is mad. Like, I think I said 8 foot, and even then I was thinking that's ridiculous. But no, she's even taller than that.
9 foot
9 foot 6.
Yeah.
And they've got like a little side-by-side image of her and Ethan Winters. So official Resident Evil have said, look, we know everyone's loving Lady Dimitrescu, so here's a few facts about her, including her height.
What's her name? Lady Dimitrescu.
Lady Dimitrescu. So I think it's Alcina Dimitrescu. Interested to see what like kind of creature she's going to be. Whether she's going to be like a next level of like Mr. X or a tyrant or a nemesis, or whether she's just going to be like sort of what they did with like Wesker. Like when he's infected, he starts to develop certain powers. Maybe she's got really tall.
Yeah, I can just imagine the Umbrella Pharmaceuticals R&D department when they're like, got these tyrants. they bloody Chris Redfield, he's always escaping. What are we gonna do? And then one guy's on the table like, we thought about making them sexier. I look across.
Someone's gone.
And then
I love it.
There's like a little pause. Like they're gonna fire him. Then he gets a massive raise. He's doing great.
Well, it says here, including her hat and high heels, she's 2.9 meters, approximately 9 foot 6. So no, it depends how big the heels are, obviously, but she is one tall drink of water. Excited to run away from her. Yeah. So there we go. It's been a week for interesting horror news. Has anybody seen anything of note?
Well, it's a weird one. I was looking through my little list of films that I've watched, and I've hardly watched anything. And when did we record last? Was it like Thursday or something?
Yeah, that's probably why we recorded quite late last week,
possibly.
didn't we?
Okay, yeah. I watched Stalker, which is the Tarkovsky film. I wouldn't say it's a horror film, but it's surprisingly long. It's like it's very difficult to recommend. So it's about kind of a futuristic post-apocalyptic Russia, and there's a guy called a stalker he's like a tour guide who takes people into what they call the zone, which is like this weird place where weird things. It's a bit like Annihilation. Like they go into there and they can't really explain. Like you walk around one corner and it will be completely different when you walk back around the other corner, that kind of thing. But it's 3 hours long. It's very like not tense, dreary. It's like super dreary Russian kind of drama. It's very much like more of an art film than anything. But it's definitely one that's not going to leave me anytime soon. I'm struggling to recommend it, but it's like, you know, when you have to eat like a big load of veg that you're not really looking forward to. A bit like that.
But afterwards, you feel
much better for it. Yeah,
but full of gas.
That's true. Yeah, I've been a bit gassy.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that.
You feel poorly, but you know it's good for you.
Yeah.
I recognise the poster for this, but I've never seen
Oh
it.
yes, the main character's head is a work of art. It's like one of the most interesting like shaped heads I've ever seen.
I thought you mean literally. I was thinking his head is a work of art. I mean, it's a good compliment to make to somebody, isn't it?
It's just it's peculiar. I wouldn't say like photorealistic art. I mean like abstract art.
Okay.
Like it's a strange shape.
I'll Picasso face.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I've been watching a bit more Samurai Jack. I don't think I've watched it. I know. I've been playing loads of games. I've been trying to finish Mad Max before the end of the month. So I just kind of cracked on with that and got it done.
You finished
What
it?
about you guys? Yeah. It's good, but without saying any spoilers, they kind of broke a cardinal rule of the Mad Max character right at the end. Like they made him do something that Mad Max never does.
Oh, he does something.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'd still want to play it. So
yeah, the worst thing about it is the story stuff. The best stuff is just being in like a post-apocalyptic world, exploring.
Having a drive about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Having a little drive about. What about you, Andy? Have you seen anything?
Like Luke, very, very little. Been trying to get my head down and do some writing over the last week or so. But I did watch a film just before I watched this week's film, in fact. We've been having little Zoom catch-ups with our friends every couple of weeks, and we choose a country and we try and cook a dinner from there. Then we do a film. So a couple of weeks ago we watched Rashomon for the first time, the iconic Japanese movie. That was great. This week we were doing Iceland, and we watched a film called Of Horses and Men. Fucking hell.
Good.
I can't, much like you and Stalker, like, I can't say I'd recommend it, but I think it's going to stick with me. Just because I just didn't know what to expect on no less than 2 occasions in that film. It's like
what is it called?
It's Of Horses and Men. It's on Prime to rent. But it's about the relationship between these horses and these men on this island in Iceland. I can tell you that at no less than 2 points in the film, I did think this horse was going to accidentally fuck this guy, but he didn't. Spoilers.
Accidentally.
Well, but, there's a horse like locked to a female horse. Is that what's happening there?
Yeah, and the guy's on the back of the horse looking very angry. But honestly, I can't even begin to describe it. I spent literally an hour and a half going, what's happening? I just don't. And then it's one of those films that just the things happen, and then it just ends. And I'm like,
yeah.
And it's presented as if this is just a week that they had. This is just a normal week, and next week similar things will happen. But
yeah,
it has been interesting. And this whole thing has been good. Like to see films from other countries that maybe don't have the biggest cinema industry. That's really cool. And because we're all taking it in turns to choose the film, we've certainly seen some things that I would never normally have even thought to encounter. So it's been interesting. But
so you've done Rashomon and you've done Of Horses and Men. What are the other ones you've done?
So I'm going back a ways now, early lockdowns. I think we began with something nice and simple. We did Pan's Labyrinth the first time.
Oh yeah.
We've done a Cuban film which is called Chocolate and Strawberry. That was actually really good. I really enjoyed that. It's really interesting because obviously don't know very much about what goes on in Cuba. We watched Parasite one of the nights because everyone except me hadn't seen it, so I threw that out there. We did Korea. Lots of French. We've definitely done. We did A Town Called Panic, and we did French. We've done Amélie separately from a different French night. But it's been fun, and it really, when particularly our friend throws out a country that you don't even know if there are any films that come from there, then it's really interesting to then you do a search and find out what's around. We did Persepolis as well. So good. That's
I watched that. It's the animated one, right?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Definitely watch that. Of all the things I've just said, so good.
Persepolis. Okay, I've been meaning to check that out anyway. Cool. What about you, Ben? What art films have you been watching this week?
Well,
it better be dreary.
Unfortunately, no art films. One that was definitely dreary. So 2 things really. One pretty great, one not so great. So I watched the documentary about the last blockbuster in existence. Rented that on YouTube, and it was really nice. It's got loads of really interesting little cameos from people who have either worked in blockbusters or Just love blockbusters. So like Kevin Smith's in it. Adam Brody, who we've obviously mentioned a few times on this whole podcast. Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
Lloyd Kaufman appears, and he's probably the only person who doesn't really have anything nice to say about Blockbuster, but for some reason they included him in this documentary. It's a pretty well-made documentary, but it's just like a nice shot of nostalgia, and it kind of covers the rise and fall of the company, covers all of the myths and legends surrounding like why it went down, like the fact that they apparently had an offer from Netflix on the table and they were going to buy them, and they decided against it in like 2000 something, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, the magic of physical media and the routine of renting a film like on the weekend, I think it was pretty commonplace for all of us. So it's nice to kind of revisit and remember it. Do you guys have any particular fond memories of renting?
Well,
was it always Blockbuster or was it individual?
Yeah.
Oh, you used to work somewhere. Okay.
Well, in fact, no. When I was growing up as a kid, it was a place called Impact Video. But as a teenager, I worked at Burger King. My friend Skip worked like a DIY Staples or something further up the way, and then there was a Blockbuster where our bandmate worked. So we used to get like 10 free rentals a week. So we used to every week just rent a shitload of anything. It didn't really matter what we were renting. Just grab a load and see what happens.
Yeah, man.
It's different time.
I remember just going into a well, it wasn't a Blockbuster, just like a video shop, and just renting every Jackie Chan film I could find. And me and my friends just spending a whole weekend just like watching and kind of like recreating stuff in the garden. It was it was a good time.
Ignoring those warnings not to copy them.
Ignoring the warnings, man. Ignore the warnings. And I think I used to rent like teenage comedies and stuff. And this was the first time I saw things like American Pie and Road Trip stuff was renting from the video shop.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like, it's a lovely documentary because it kind of, you remember everything. You're like, oh yeah, this was really key and poignant to me. But then it's in such a small town. Well, not even that small town actually, but just a town called Bend in Oregon, where the last Blockbuster exists. And like people are loving it. People are still going there renting stuff. There's like new releases. It's just really cool to see it still going. And I'd love to go and visit the place. And it's like a tourist hotspot as well now. Like people go there. People make long journeys across the country, and some people like travel. Like, so I think someone was saying they came from Spain just to see it.
That's cool.
Maybe we should put maybe you guys should put a Patreon tier on. If we get a certain amount, we'll go on a trip.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, horror movies as well. Obviously, this podcast is all about horror movies. I've probably saw a lot of horror movies for the first time being rented from the video shop, not by me, but like stuff that my mum had rented. Can I watch this? No, I don't think you're supposed to. Oh, please, it got to go back tomorrow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you used to my dad used to have 2 VCRs, so he used to record. I don't know how he worked it. You record from one to the other, so you have it on videotape.
Classic move. No, I don't think I did that. I used to record things off of the TV, movies and wrestling, and try and stop it when the adverts came on.
Yeah, stay up and edit the adverts.
yeah. Got to edit these adverts out. So I mean,
and little lines come across the top.
Yeah, exactly. I recommend checking it out though. Like it's like 90 minutes, and it is pretty interesting if you've got interest in stuff like that. The other movie I watched was something called The Little Things. It's like a crime drama / like police procedural, but it's got some big names in it. It's got Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto. I don't know if you guys know anything about this at all. It just came out. I think it was on.
I think I've seen a poster, but that's it.
Yeah. So I thought it sounded quite interesting. Jared Leto plays a potential serial killer. Denzel Washington and Rami Malek are like the detectives hunting him down. It starts off really well, but it is a dud. I was really interested and like invested, but it just goes downhill so quickly. Denzel Washington, it seems to be operating at about 50% in this movie. He's still awesome at 50%, but something about it, you're just like, wake up.
What do you mean? Like he's tired?
It just seems like he's just. I hate to say it about Denzel, because I don't think I've ever said it about Denzel. Just feels like he's phoning it in. Rami Malek sleepwalks his way through the entire film, Not at any point does he make anything other than 2 different facial expressions.
He might actually be asleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Wake him up. Poor guy.
Jared Leto, he's doing something, but
Is it acting?
But
well, you cut him deep.
The way his character looks and the story of his character and what his character is doing in comparison to his performance are completely opposite directions. It's like
I've got to say, you're not selling it to me.
Well, no, because I didn't like it.
Maybe this is the time he's gone away from his usual method, Ben. Normally pretend he does, does all the methods stuff. Maybe this time
genuinely
you listen to us saying, just pretend, mate.
I genuinely don't mind Jared Leto as an actor. Like, I prefer him as a musician, but I don't mind him as an actor. Sometimes he does things where I go, oh, that's not the best. But this, I'm just like, am I supposed to be believing anything about this story? But it has no cohesive story, and the final act is so inconsequential. There's no tension. There are 0 stakes, and then it just ends. And you're like, it's probably one of the most underwhelming films I've ever seen with a cast as stacked as this.
What's that one called again?
The Little Things.
Just add into my watch list.
Oh no!
I've seen some reviews and they've said, "Oh yeah, you talk about the little things. The little things are story, plot, all these things you've forgotten about."
Is that a burn on level on a par with Kong? No, yet again.
Yeah, there is a good line in it though that I quite liked. So there's a bit where Denzel Washington is questioning Jared Leto about something, and it's clear that Jared Leto is having a little bit of fun with Denzel, and Denzel just like loses his rag and says, "Your dick is as hard as Chinese arithmetic." And I was just like, in what context is he saying this? But yeah, after watching the trailer, I thought, it looks like a quite nice little neo-noir detective drama. Yeah, but there's a lot of people said, it rips off Seven. I'm like, that is probably, even saying it rips off Seven is giving it way too many plaudits, more plaudits than it deserves. So yeah,
I was
not a fan
of rewatching The Book of Eli. I'm going for a post-apocalyptic mood at the minute, which is probably why Stalker came onto my watch list. But The Book of Eli, that was all right, wasn't it? From what I remember, I can't really remember.
It's pretty good.
I think it was just
right.
Yeah, it was just a fine, entertaining Denzel Washington beats people up film, right?
Okay, I'll be up for that.
Yeah. I've not seen The Equalizer 2, which I didn't even realize was a thing until recently. So
I've not seen either of the Equalizers. In my world, things are still very off kilter.
Yeah, first one's pretty good, I think. Man on Fire is good.
Love Man on Fire. Man on Fire is great.
Yeah.
I like how he gets the baddies by just like, we've got you, Creasy Bear. We're going to torture you. He goes, not if I give up on life and choose to die. Like,
That's how you win. And
just
then
it breathes out and just fades away.
And then we also watched a little thing called Psycho Goreman. If you guys, should we jump in?
Yeah, Psycho Goreman. So this is a brand new release. This came out just a week or so ago, I believe. So
yeah. Jan 22nd, like that.
Yeah, and it's directed by what's the dude's name again? But we've covered one of his movies on this podcast before. We've covered The Void, Steven Kostanski.
Yeah.
So yeah, Psycho Goreman is a 2020 Canadian science fiction fantasy horror comedy film written and directed by Steven Kostanski. It stars Nita-Josee, Hanna, and Owen Myre as a younger brother and sister who unwittingly resurrect an ancient extraterrestrial overlord and control him into doing their bidding.
Yeah. So, IMDb have this at 6.2. Critics score on Rotten Tomatoes is 90%, but I don't know if there was a huge number of reviews on there yet. 60% audience score, Letterboxd at 3.5. A couple of choice reviews. Gravity on the 1st of February wrote, "It's just a lot of fun. Villains and anti-heroes straight out of Power Rangers. A lot of gore and a lot of humor. 5 stars." And then Alan put it's Astron 6, so the effects are good. I imagine Astron 6 are like the effects seem to do the void and all those kind of things. And it's Astron 6, so the effects are good, and everything else is absolute toilet. Half a star.
You fucking toilet.
Toilet. You
You
absolute toilet.
Yeah, we did the void a little while ago. I think my problem, I liked the aesthetic of the void, the score, the posters, the special effects, the mood and the tone. That was all very much spot on. I didn't like this. I just felt like the story was kind of lacking, or the characters were lacking, or something. I need to watch it again. It's been a while, but I don't know. I didn't really vibe with that side of it. I think you were similar, right, Ben?
Yeah,
I
was
think you
similar.
might
So we
enjoyed
reviewed this.
a bit more. I don't know.
It looks like we did
This
this
is
in
early
April
days, right?
2017. So
Yeah.
it was 4 years ago. I think this is one of the first times we strayed off of the path of the top 50 horror movies which we were doing. Yeah, I felt kind of the same. Everything about it in the build-up, all the marketing, the posters, all the visuals, the trailer, everything looked amazing. Everything looked like this is going to be absolutely badass. And it did suffer a bit from the story. Well, I say a lot, really. It just got to a point, I think, where I was checked out.
It
Or maybe, like,
opens excellently. Like the first third, when it sets everything up with the hospital, and they've got like a Hellraiser labyrinthine hospital dimension thing going on.
Yeah.
That stuff was really cool. But then I think it just kind of lost its way the deeper they went into it. But yeah, so this film's about the same people. They've got like a when that reviewer was saying, when Gravity was saying about Power Rangers, like that's kind of spot on. Like it's Power Rangers, like it's like Rita Repulsa and Lord. It's like Lord Zed gets his own movie and becomes a hero of it.
You never thought you wanted that before.
Yeah.
But
This
you
is
do.
like, for me, the immediate description is like, this is like if Troma was the studio that made Power Rangers.
Yeah.
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 That's a good take on it, definitely.
I mean, the character designs are off the chain. Like there's some characters in this. There's like one that's like a bucket of gore, and he like shoots blood out of his fingers. It's got little blood squirty things. And there's another one that's a brain inside a big jar. He's got these tubes coming out of his face, and like little mustache tubes.
Yeah.
And he's obviously got like a rubber face. Even like the good, in quotes, good guys have that kind of Power Rangers, VR Troopers, Beetleborgs kind of vibe to them.
It's like lizard people,
yeah,
aliens, blobs, sort of armored, winged archangels.
yeah.
It's just
Melty policeman. There's
Oh yeah, that was super traumatic, that bit. Yeah.
melting policeman. He just wants to die. Yeah, I kind of want more from like all these characters and backstories and it's particularly Psycho Goreman's like allies. Well, obviously we're made to think they're his allies. There are some characters there. I was just like, there's like the sort of robot dude with the parrot on his.
what is his name?
Like a Caesar.
Cassius
like
3000.
Yeah.
This was insane. There was like the witch. What's it? The witch.
Like a Ringu
Something.
sort of Japanese one.
That was terrifying. And all they're all very different characters. And I just kept, I wonder how they came together. But also
the character design was off, like was pretty much perfect, I think.
Yeah.
Like it worked.
Some of the human characters are absolutely nuts as well. Like the dad.
Oh god. Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on with the. I liked the dad. I just didn't think he was in the right movie. I don't know. There's something weird going on. He did not slot into that movie.
The leading lady, so the kid Mimi was awesome, and she had a lot of interest in her dynamic with her brother. Was pretty cool as well.
I was curious about this.
Borderline abusive.
Nita-Josee Hanna played a little girl called Mimi. She's the girl who has the diamond, so she's sort of in control. She's the me in the Mac and Me situation. I borderline couldn't stand her.
Oh yeah.
And I had a feeling because like I don't have any kids or anything, so I'm not used to kids.
I feel like as an actress, I've got a lot of respect for her because I think she's pretty awesome and she was believable as that. But as a character, borderline abusive to her brother, but also there were like a few moments which were supposed to be like heartfelt, and I was a bit like, what? She's being horrible to him. Or like there was a moment where it's supposed to be heartfelt, and I was like, she hasn't even actually apologized. For God's sake. So I felt for the brother in that stage.
I'm with you. I by and large liked the character. I thought that it was clearly, like, when they were writing it, they put all the best lines into Mimi's character, and she plays it so very well. I think when it comes to overall arc, you could have dialed back a little bit or had her redeem the relationship with the brother slightly more, in a slightly more heartfelt way, in the same way that maybe Psycho Goreman himself learns a lesson. But by and large, I think you've got a young actor that's got a promising career with roles to come, I'd imagine. Because she certainly does that character in a memorable way, whether you liked it or hated it.
That girl, and I imagine the actress is the same, have so much confidence that I just don't understand how a person can have that much confidence at that age. Like,
she goes home at night and cries into her pillow. It's all an act. It's all an act, and she can't keep it
hopefully,
up.
because I just don't understand.
Well, hopefully, yeah. Don't understand acting otherwise. God.
Just pretend, lads. Come on.
Her brother, Owen Myre, who gets abused. He's the older brother, not the younger brother. I think he's older. He's bigger anyway.
He is. He's big. I've just realised, Luke, that's why you don't like her, because the kid's name is Luke and she's mean to him.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. I think the brother did really well as well. He's a charming little actor. He kind of a bit of a milquetoast sort of character. Like, he's there to be abused. And then who else we got? Michael Ninaber as Psycho Goreman. Psycho Goreman played Note Perfect pretty much, right? I think he played that role of evil Power Rangers villain.
Totally ridiculous, but it just worked, didn't it? Like, all of his dialogue was great. His backstory stuff was awesome. And even like, I believed his arc, his character arc of going from homicidal maniac to still a homicidal maniac, but one who's, especially when he gives his enemies a warrior's death as well,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Who else we got here? Adam Brooks as Greg. I'm guessing that's the dad.
That's the dad.
Was, I don't know. He's a strange guy, that guy. In a good way. He's idiosyncratic, but I just didn't buy the mum and dad relationship. Alex is Hansi plays the mum. It was a bit weird, especially because they essentially, I don't know, they kind of added some extra drama that wasn't really there. Like, they seemed for the first half of the movie they were like tight, like two peas in a pod. But then there was suddenly she was going to kill him or something. I don't know what happened.
You're lazy, and then they must have said the word lazy like 25 times after that, just to really drive it home that that he was being accused of being lazy. So it did get a bit. I don't know.
Just to manufacture that conflict a little bit, so you can put the family into sides.
But the guy was very, very funny, I've got to say. He had some great lines. What was the bit near the start where the girl is like, "If any monsters do come, can you tell them to eat Luke first?" And he said, "Oh, that's harsh, but okay."
I've got to
really
respect
dry delivery. Yeah, really good. I don't know who else these people are. Kristen McCulloch's not credited here. I'm guessing she might be the good warrior person. Not too sure.
Oh, like who the angel robot lady becomes.
Was she? Who the angel robot lady cut when she becomes someone? Was she dubbed? Because every time she was talking, I was like, it seems like they've dubbed her voice, because it was very strange. There's something about it. It felt even more Power Rangers to me, with bits like this.
Yeah.
Were they maybe making it have an ethereal quality, or it could be like you say, because they dub all the Power Rangers stuff because it is primarily footage from an old Japanese show, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if that was a something they did on purpose, or something that was kind of?
By the way, this might be a dumb question, but what do you call that genre of like TV, like Power Rangers, stuff that was like a Japanese TV show that they kind of retrofitted to be a Western TV show? VR Troopers, Masked Rider, Beetleborgs, Power Rangers. They must have a genre.
Oh, they are. Is it all Kamen Rider stuff, or is that just one of the variants?
I don't know.
So I've got down here Sentai is a subgenre involving a team of superheroes, task force, squadron, or Sentai. So it seems like a subgenre of tokusatsu, which must be something like about a team of superheroes.
Something weird in Japanese. Tokusatsu.
There we go. I guess this is one of the things, right? Because this is the anxiety I have going into this episode. I think the last couple of films we've done have played it very straight, and they play it very straight, but then because of their age or just things about them, we've had things to riff on and have some fun with. It's very hard with this film because obviously it is completely bonkers and off the walls. So here we are talking about what is that genre that Power Rangers all into?
Yeah, I think it is tokusatsu. I wonder if there's any like more serious ones, because they're all kind of cheesy for kids in that. But it'd be interesting to see if there's any, adult ones. Guyver, I guess, might be that.
Yeah, I would imagine that, like in Japan, where they all come from originally, because quite a lot of things like that, even if you look within the space of, when you're buying your graphic novels, your mangas and everything in Japan, like there is such a greater range of genres. There are entire sections that are purely about like teenage drama and romance and things like that. So I'd imagine that these type of shows have a similar feel to it, where there's more range in the genre. It's not necessarily all kids programs.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I guess the film starts with the siblings having a game of crazy ball in the back garden. It's like a homemade game. The rules are kind of so complicated to be ludicrous. I really liked it because they added like the lead guitar solo bits and sound effects that you would find in a big boss fight in one of those TV programs in a tokusatsu. Mimi wins, right?
She gets him on the switcheroo.
Right.
Yeah.
The switcheroo.
She wins and then forces him to dig. So Luke's got to dig a hole. Is there any
digs a
real
massive hole?
The winner is going to become champion of the universe, and the loser is buried alive, and he loses.
Yes. There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
So, what do they find?
A glowing gem, which Mimi gets to keep because she won, and that's just right. That's just fair. And then the next morning, I don't want to say the parents.
They remove the crystal. They remove the crystal, and randomly she gets the sequence right that will have opened it and releases it. And then don't they think that there's something in? Doesn't it start opening? So they bury it and then run in. And this is where we get the first bit of the parents dynamic, like you're saying, Luke, where you already mentioned. They said, "Oh, if the monsters come, will you make sure they eat Luke first?" And the brother's like, "Oh, are there any? Is there such a thing as monsters?" And the dad is like, "In many ways, son, people are the real monsters. So yes, monsters are real."
Yeah. The next day, it might be that night. The Psycho Goreman go and kill some people that night.
Yeah, he goes out and he goes into like the like a warehouse where he eventually is later on. There are some burglars there, so you can kill some random guys first. They've just robbed a guy, and Psycho Goreman comes in and just smashes these guys to custard. He kills two of them, like explodes them, and then he curses the third guy to live forever.
They're like a weird trio of guys here. There's like two young guys and just some random ancient hobo dude. They were like, they admit to like have killed a man earlier that night, and stole his photo frame.
So it's okay if they get killed.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, they're disposable. That guy he kills, he curses. I really like the special effects for that, where he obviously wasn't a real body. It was like a mannequin, but decorated really well, and the eyeballs were constantly rolling.
Yeah,
as if he was
Spinning
constantly
around
in
with his
pain. Yeah.
horrific.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so the next day after that, Mimi and Luke notice. Well, first of all, the parents are trying to get them to fill in the hole, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're like voting. I think that Dad should do it. And it's like, oh, that's totally like I really like that you've dug this hole. Really good work. Totally unacceptable. There, you're gonna have to fill it in. And then they sort of give the dad some grief. They have no respect for him. And then he goes, all right, I'll bury the hole. Then he goes, oh, my hand. And he's like faking an injury, clearly. Yeah. So they have to dig it up. But I think the kids are immediately aware that someone has come out of the hole, a monster.
There's some big claw marks in the mud, isn't there?
Yeah.
They notice.
Yeah.
So yeah, they pretty much follow a trail out of their garden towards where the old shoe factory is. And they find. I was surprised Psycho Goreman was still there, just chilling. I thought he'd be off about his business,
conquering the universe.
The universe. But he decided to chill in the old shoe factory all night. So yeah, he obviously introduces himself as the Archduke of Nightmares, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he has no name, but that's what some call him.
Some call me the Archduke of Nightmare. That's a nickname he's given himself. That he wants to catch on.
Like Cobra.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they quickly learn that they can, with the diamond that they took from him, they can control him.
Yeah.
I think they Mimi makes him telekinetically spin Luke around in the air.
Yeah.
There's too much. It's too dangerous, I think, to get a guy like him to do your bid, and especially like spin my brother around.
Yeah, because he could take that in any way. He could go Wishmaster with that and go, I'll spin him.
Because at a point later on, she tells Psycho Goreman to kill her brother, and then after a couple of seconds, she goes, "Oh no, actually, wait, I'm only joking." But
he could have
instantly acted and like just popped his head off, and you'd be like, "Okay, I didn't mean that." I feel like Mimi has got no true understanding of the power she holds in this gem. She gets him to like, "Oh, go over there and spin that guy around."
Because that's where they first begin, isn't it? It is right, because it must be the evening when they go over there. And it's like, right, you sit there, and we'll be back for you tomorrow. And you just have to sit on the chair overnight.
Yeah, absolutely good, wouldn't you?
And this is where I think the actor that plays Psycho Goreman is good, because he plays it entirely straight. And this is great. He's doing all these ridiculous things, like when they're first talking to him, she's making him like jog on the spot or stand on one leg or clap his hands, and he's just there saying, I'm gonna kill you. Like,
I'm gonna kill you. I will bathe in your blood. I will. You should be terrified because I'm gonna take over your planet and all that stuff. And she's just like, jog on the spot.
Yeah.
Shut up.
That's like where this film had a bit of magic to it. Like that mixture of like really dark. When they first meet the parents, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you, and they're like laughing and stuff. And he's like, I'm going to kill you.
Just like, he's such a joker. He's not.
when they introduce their friend to him as well, he goes like, "What does he say to him?" He says like, "See you later."
Yeah.
Like,
it's better now you're in it. So it'd be better if you were dead.
Yeah, it'd be better if you were dead.
Really petulant.
And he just goes, "Okay, see you later." The friend gets absolutely done dirty, doesn't he? Jesus. Alistair, we'll come to it, I know, but he gets done dirty.
And this is where they also do like the name workshopping as well, when he's like in systems like, I don't have a name. She's like, oh, we'll call you, and it's like, Mr. Murder and things like that. And he's like, no. And then they obviously come up with
Archduke of Nightmares is fine. But yeah, they come up with Psycho Goreman, which is pretty good. They're insisting on PG for short, but I think Psycho Goreman's got a certain
PG for short works as a really good joke in the trailer. At the end, when it said PG rated 13 or whatever it said, it's a really nice little joke. Yeah, PG. I like it, Psycho Goreman. PG. Yeah, I can't wrap it. So I guess we're introduced to the Planetary Alliance pretty quick, like
Yeah.
the good
Yep.
guys
This
essentially.
is where we go up to them and look at them in like a very. This is a heavy Power Rangers bit, right? Where you've got all of these different wacky aliens, mostly in like prosthetic costumes, right? I don't think there's any.
Yeah,
All of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So you
there's
can
like
tell they don't.
a
They
lizard
haven't.
dude.
Yeah, they haven't quite nailed the Power Rangers level of tokusatsu moving mouths because
Yeah.
they're all talking, but the mouths aren't really moving
The
much
other
at all.
mouths are all over the place, especially with the what's her name, Pandora.
Yeah,
The that's a little bit dodgy. But apart from that, I mean, the effects look really good. Like there's a lizard guy, head in a jar dude, couple of aliens, petulant twats.
the brain in the jar guy was
He's
my
so
favorite.
good.
He looked
so
shocked. He looked a bit like what's that Muppet? He just like says
Beaker.
stuff. Is it
Oh
Beaker?
yeah, Beaker. Yeah, Beaker.
Yeah. My favorite bit with
Yeah.
the brain is it's in this scene actually when Pandora calls forth, like she's, oh, what lives on this planet? And like, oh, humans. So now bring me a human, and the woman just appears and she immediately cubes her, like
Yeah.
puts her into like a flesh cube, so she
Yeah.
can. I assume so she can then turn into a human. But
Yeah, because she like
is
licks it
utterly-
or whatever,
How-
puts it on her face.
Is it or is it not utterly redundant that she takes the form of a human? Because when she's a human, when she goes to planet Earth, she goes to like the police, but then continues talking like Pandora and
Like an
basically
alien.
making out that she's an alien and she's
Yeah.
come here to kill Psycho
Just-
Goreman. She's not trying to
it's
blend in at all.
It's
It's
just a fun
pointless.
scene,
Yeah.
but the best part about
Yeah.
it is when she cubes that woman. There's like just literally like a split second where the sort of aristocratic, very like superior like alien guy, because the brain in the jar has no eyelids, he covers the glass over his
Yeah.
eyes.
Don't be scared. The heart's still beating in that fleshy cube though,
Yeah.
which is very cool.
Yeah,
She said.
yeah.
But we're supposed to believe these people are the good guys, but they're homicidal maniacs as well.
Well, Pandora is. She's a Templar or something like. There's a race of people who kind of want the universe to be ruled by her strict fundamentalist
Yeah.
religion or whatever.
So they imprisoned PG, like a long time ago, I guess, after defeating him, and the gem, which was the source of his power, they used it to imprison him. How did they get to planet Earth? I don't really remember how he ended up on planet Earth.
Didn't we talk about them putting him on Earth? They said in like the crawl at the beginning that they buried him on like an out of the way planet, and
Yeah.
we're assumed to believe that this civilization is ages old because if we go back a little, when PG kills those people, the burglars, he's like, oh, in a couple of millennium you might be decent opponents, but now nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
So we know that these people are on the way. Meanwhile, when they've gone and abused him a little bit more, PG has used the television to summon his allies, his like paladins of pain, to come and rescue them on Earth. And another great little line here where he describes it like, the gem that gives my power is in some stupid meat children.
TV starts bleeding when he's communicating with them as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's continued to bleed until later.
Yeah.
Now that you mention Alistair's performance, where he just says, "Okay, I wish it would be better if you were dead." Okay, that's a pretty great little performance. So the next morning, they take Alistair to meet Psycho Goreman. They're like, "Tell us the story, Psycho Goreman," and then he tells them about Guy Gax. He was like a slave race on a planet to the Templar people. Found the gem, and he kind of stitches it into his chest. And then he becomes
powers.
Yeah.
And he just went mad and just was killing, going across various different planets, murdering everybody. Yeah, terrifying stuff.
I liked all the flashback special effects. All the flames were kind of definitely not really there, like superimposed, but it works. Like you can tell it's all built on a little soundstage. Yeah.
Yeah, I love these little bits as well because he does this story, which you actually get a full flashback for, but then throughout the rest of the scenes of the movie, there's another couple of times when he starts telling a new one, but Mimi finds none of them interesting at all, and is like, "Shut up! Stop telling that boring story." There's one that's like, "It reminds me of the time I was riding across the Rainbow Bridge," and like it shows literally about a second of him like flying on this bike through space.
This is a man for some big Lovecraftian thing. Yeah. So
they take him back to the house like around about now, and their parents see him, don't they? They meet him.
You're right. She takes him back to the house because Alistair is coming round for tea or something like that. And in the bit of dialogue, it's clear that Mimi fancies Alistair. And it's like, well, I'm going to go and can we go and play video games after the dad has cooked some terrible food? It's like, oh, can we go and play video games? And Mimi's like, are you sure you wouldn't rather come and like throw basketballs at Luke with me? And it's like, oh, really wants to play some vids. So she's bored, so goes and fetches Psycho Goreman like round to the house.
That's
and
when
how does he end
the
up
parents are like screaming. Getting what, sorry?
How does Alistair end up getting transformed, and why? Because I might have missed this. She kind of says.
She just says like, after the parents have screamed. Yeah, he just says, I once used my magic to make the princess of so and so fall in love with someone. Do you want me to do that? And he's like, Mimi's, yeah. He goes, okay, and he just, as a result, turns him into a brain.
Turns him into a giant brain. Yeah, there's no one says, well, that's not what I want. They kind of everyone in this movie just accepts that that's him now. They just go, yeah.
He talks still like Alistair, still like a little kid, and he walks on these like tiny tentacle feet and stuff. And he's got big googly eyes.
Yeah. But, he looks in constant pain now. He looks like, oh God. Maybe he's not.
Yeah.
Imagine if your brain was out all the time though, and you were a brain, you get grit in it, wouldn't you?
I mean, it's a good point. It is a good point. I never thought about it, but yeah. And then we get like a big, what's the word?
Like a montage.
Montage.
Yeah.
Oh, the musical.
Montage.
The musical
montage
moment.
Of like
so
different outfits and Psycho Goreman doing different things. Playing the drums. That's it. I'm the heckin' best. That song.
Yeah. I'm the heckin' best.
Basically, Billy Idol, isn't it?
I'm the heckin' there. I'm pretty sure it's that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was Rebel Yell. There's no arguing it. It's Rebel Yell. So.
It's lots of little bits here. They go to a fast food restaurant, I think.
They go to a fast food restaurant, and again, this is when he's telling more stories, and it's just like, no, shut up, I'm not interested.
Like scoffing burgers and stuff as well.
Yeah, and that's when he talks about the warrior's death. It's the greatest honor to be eaten.
It's funny because only he seems to think that. Like everyone, he sort of gives the warrior's death to her. Like,
but we have that little scene in the restaurant, and then we're joined with them. Is this when Mimi and Luke explain Crazy Ball to Psycho Goreman, who at the moment is dressed as Alan Grant from Jurassic Park?
Yeah. Dressed as Alan Grant from Jurassic Park? What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's when the cops turn up.
They've been clothes shopping as well, haven't they, as part of the montage? Like the mom has got involved and they've been clothes shopping and all that other stuff. But yeah, this is when the cops turn up while they're playing they're playing Crazy Ball, and they shoot at Psycho Goreman, and then he blocks them, only to then realise that he should have just let the bullets hit the kids.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I should have let those hit you.
What are those police officers doing? Why did those police officers turn up as well? It's pretty random, right?
I guess like someone just reported a giant monster man playing ball.
But in the montage, when he's walking around, a lot we see one or two people say nice Halloween costume.
Yeah.
So
he explodes that kid's head for saying.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That was a passive moment. I can't remember
repercussions. No repercussions. Nice Halloween costume. Yeah.
But this is when he comes up, and again, this is what just gets me with this movie. Like in this moment, again plays it so straight, and it's funny. But you could imagine a film that took itself seriously, it would have this type of language. It is like, oh, you know, law dealers, you don't protect, you protect your planet well. Then he melts that man in that very trauma-ish scene where a policeman just gets melted into like a weird zombie character because he gives him all of the knowledge. So he doesn't melt him with like an attack.
Yeah.
He fills him with knowledge about his history and melts him.
He becomes fused to his gun as well.
Yeah.
He can't stop just randomly shooting with it.
He can't stop shooting. He never needs to reload. He's just constantly shooting, trying to kill himself. Help me.
And then the other cop.
I realised that some of the effects remind me a bit of like Gwar and Lordy as well, like the bands, which I kept getting sort of vibes of throughout this, because they're a little bit more gruesome, I guess, than like Power Rangers stuff, aren't they? Just a tad.
Yeah. No one's punching putties here.
No putties.
The other cop is like terrified beyond belief and
can't get
runs back to the police station. Did it play a game of Crazy Ball here? I'm not too sure.
I'm not sure if they did. I'm not sure if they did play or whether they just get interrupted. Oh no, he does. He goes back and they're trying to play again, and she's like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna have to explain it again now because that zombie's there."
Yeah.
And she explains the rules. He goes, "Oh, do you understand?" And he like goes, and it's like, he says, "Oh, I see, he understands. Why don't you get it?" He's like, he's just telling you what you want to hear.
But I think we maybe have missed a bit with Psycho Goreman going into, because Mimi eats Luke's chips, his French fries. So Psycho Goreman meets him in a dream, and it's like zombies attacking him in the dream.
You can only meet them in the nightmares, right?
Yeah.
Nightmare realm.
He wants Luke to. He says, "Luke, your sister's a bit of a bitch to you. Why don't you give me the stone, and then you can live as my pet or something." And then he says, "I can't do that.
I went stitch my sister up."
Yeah. And it says, "What do we do now?" And he goes, "Well, we just wait." And he's like these zombies crawling towards the bed.
Yeah. We just wait till the end. We wait till you wake up. Bit awkward.
He just stands there in silence while these zombies crawl towards him.
So they're trying to introduce a little bit of conflict between Luke and Mimi at this stage. But like the introduction of it's fine, but I just don't know if it goes in any direction, any logical direction, or if it's truly resolved.
I get the conflict between Luke and Mimi. It's the mum and the dad stuff that seems to come out of nowhere in a minute, as we go. But like, yes, they have or do not have a game of Crazy Ball, and then they're walking back when I guess Luke, and obviously you just shared the bit about where he says, "Oh, Mimi's always mean to you." This is the bit as they're walking back that she tells Psycho Goreman to kill Luke, and then she's like, not really. And he sort of looks a bit, oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't take that piss. Don't do that. I'd just be like, come on.
Yeah.
I've had some sort of agreement where that's not done.
The cop zombie, he gives Thingy like a Valentine's card, and she opens it and it says, "Please kill me."
Yeah. How did he get? I mean, we don't need to know, but how did he get that? How did he write it?
There's so many funny bits around this bit. Like, things are getting very violent around him now. Like, that cop is shooting off constantly. Luke obviously seems very concerned, or increasingly concerned, but Mimi has no care at all. This is where like all the bad guys turn up as well. I can't remember the guy's name. Dark Screen. Yeah.
But they themselves are actually, we find out here that they're glad Psycho Goreman is gone, and now they all take it in turns to be the ruler of their moon where they live.
Yeah.
They've got it set pretty much, haven't they?
Yeah, so... Oh, okay, yeah, so this is when they get into a big scrap. But well, I think they say we're gonna destroy you, Psycho Goreman. And they're just kind of hitting him, like, pitifully.
Yeah, they're just bashing him. Back. But he's not allowed. Mimi won't let him fight back, so he just lies there until he apologizes for being. What does he have to apologize for? Does he try to snatch the stone or something?
No, he tries to get them to kill them.
Oh yeah, he says kill them.
Kill them.
Yeah.
And she's like, can't believe you did that. So yeah, so when he does apologize, which he does, what does he say? I'm truly sorry.
First he just says sorry. He says, "Oh, I don't believe it. You've got to do a real when your mom does that when you're a kid. You say sorry, and you have to really mean it, which means you have to say you're sorry in a sadder voice."
You're not sorry. You wouldn't have done it. I hated my dad used to say that because then you couldn't win. Like there's no way you could win the apology at all. Yeah. But Psycho Goreman gets his powers back properly and starts scrapping. It's good. One of the effects that I really like that he did was when someone gets hit by a blade, there's like sparklers or something that shoot off of the wound, if that makes sense. That used to happen in Power Rangers a lot.
That's very Power Rangers, like when you get like sparked when you get hit by a sword. But this is where I know you guys mentioned at the top, there's some really good character design here. There's the big gore, like a big washing machine full of bones is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's the person that's like a tree with like a rose in their heart that he pulls out.
Oh yeah. He's got like gravestones as well that he just hits people. I mean, it's all really interesting. Like
the workshopping on those character design it's far beyond the amount of screen time that each of them has.
Yeah. I think that like I would like to have some artwork with all of them on, like some action figures or something. They're too good a character design just to have been in this film for 5 minutes.
These definitely lend themselves well to like, if this would be one of those things, like when we were kids, you could get like Aliens action figures, those action figures totally like the source material is completely inappropriate for kids that have toys. This would be it now. Like, love an action figure of the Paladins of Pain.
Yeah. Paladins of Pain is what they're called.
I think it's something along that, right? Those is generals.
Yeah, it's like Paladins of Obsidian, apparently.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool.
So how does he kill them?
I kind of prefer Paladins of Pain though.
Yeah, me too.
There you go. We've got a note for him.
He takes the rose out of the tree one's heart and crushes it.
Chops the witch's head off because that's okay for a minute.
Yeah.
Like she magics him and almost tears his head off, but then he puts it back on and then blasts her head off with his magic.
What does he do to Cassius? He
opens like a vortex in the floor.
Yeah.
And it's like, look in there, like you'll see the true darkness is inside ourselves. And he's like, oh, I do see it. And he's like, see, and now you've learned a lesson. And then a massive hand just comes out and smashes his head.
Like rips his face off.
Oh yeah.
He kills the policeman who also puts the boot in on him. Does he get like some big sticks off one of the others he's killed and jams them in his eyes?
Yeah. Those eyes are wanting to be jabbed though.
Yeah.
And I think Darkscreen gets the warrior's death, right?
Yeah, he eats him.
Like earlier, like he says it's an honor, but every time he gives someone that honor, they're like terrified, trying to get away. His mouth gets ridiculously wide. You just hear him screaming. Mimi's like the only one who doesn't seem bothered. Everyone else is like looking away.
She's just like cool.
This is when he walks away, just like you children have seen terrible things. They will haunt you forever and eventually drive you mad. Well, let's go.
Yeah.
But after he gives him the warrior's death, he ends up is he like poisoned by him or something?
Yeah,
they poison their blades or something.
Yeah, they've put his blood. They've treated the blades with his blood, and it's like a curse. So he's dying.
Okay.
Damn. So
this is when they go back to the house. This is when Susan and Greg, the mum and dad, suddenly start to hate each other.
Yeah.
How does when the dad's on the toilet and the face keeps popping out?
That's so good. Because the mum and dad have had a row about him being lazy. So then he goes to the toilet, like doing those things. You like have the perfect comeback to an argument after it's over, and just pointing out that the dad is no good. He doesn't really do anything, and he's like, He's sitting on the toilet going, "Well, Susan, like I've got an English degree. How's that for nothing?" And then Psycho Goreman's screaming face appears.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
And they need the dad to come and collect them.
Yeah. So he's asking for help. He goes and collects the kids with Psycho Goreman, brings them back to the house where what's her name? In her human form is waiting.
She's arrived there having been to the police station. The policeman that didn't get turned into a zombie has gone back there, and he's there recounting the story. She walks in her human form, so Pandora comes in her human form and says, "Oh, has anyone seen anything unusual?" And the guy on the desk's like, "Nah, nothing like that around here." And then the other policemen are literally just behind you. Have you not listened to this? And then again, this is what you were saying, Ben. Completely uncovers that she was an alien by immediately just absorbing all the information from his head and glitching him out, and we assume killing him, I guess, because it didn't look nice.
No, didn't look pleasant.
Yeah. So when the dad and Luke, Psycho Goreman, and Mimi get back to the house, Pandora is with the mum.
Yeah, she's just out the house. And convinces Luke, gets out of the car and says basically, "I'm going to kill Psycho Goreman." He's too weak to fight at this point. He's lying in the back of the flatbed. Says, Luke gets out of the car and goes and stands with them. But this is when the mom has another go at Greg and says, for once in your life, you don't actually have to do anything. All you have to do is get out of the way. And he's like, "Oh, I would like to do that. Maybe I'm too lazy."
He just runs with it, doesn't he? "I'm offended by that, and I'm just going to keep saying it over and over again."
And he goes off, and they're heading back to the shoe factory with Psycho Goreman. And this is where we have kind of a split scene between back at the shoe factory. Psycho Goreman reveals that the only way to save him is to get him his crystal back. And he promises not to kill Mimi or their family if they do. Meanwhile, back at the family's home, the mom is given some squash by Pandora.
Yeah, it's pretty much just squash, isn't it? It's like
a blue squash.
It's a bubblegum panda pop or something.
Yeah, that's going to turn her into a robot warrior. And this is where we get another one of my favorite. The dad has some quality lines. He would slot perfectly into a sitcom, where he's talking to Mimi, and this is when he's saying "I promise I won't kill you if you give us the gem back." And Dad says, "Once as I was a boy, there was a man, and he came to me outside school and asked if I wanted to look in his van and look at his baseball cards. And I went to that van, and you know what happened? Saw some brilliant baseball cards."
He got into the back of the van and showed me his huge collection of baseball cards.
Yeah.
So if you just take a chance on something, then it'll always see you right. And then Mimi has a preparation scene where she's praying to God, and she's like, "Dear God, I'm making a big decision. I want you to help. Shall I wear, which of these sunglasses am I going to wear? Actually, I already know, so fuck you." And then breaks the
breaks a crucifix. Controversial, but I like it.
Yeah, can't cancel Mimi. She just does what she wants.
Exactly.
And
I'll be honest. So this from here, it kind of goes off the rails a bit for me.
So it's the final scene
fight
that you lose it in.
Yeah, when they start playing Crazy Ball. I don't know. It just seems to Peter.
The fact that all of the stuff we've seen in the flashbacks and all these different characters we've seen, the fact that the finale essentially takes place in the same place as it started just feels like a little bit smaller scale for me. I don't know.
I know what you mean. I imagine that's probably budgetary stuff, but yeah, I feel like it could have got a bit more ground. I mean, I don't know how they would have done this. Maybe this was out of scope, but I would have liked to see them go giant. To kick around some models or something.
Or have them. I would have still gone with the Crazy Ball thing, but you would have done it at city scale and have them all grow giant and be smashing over cardboard buildings.
Because
Yeah, and they'll be
Psycho
using
Goreman.
something else instead of a ball. Like they'll be using like I don't know, a bus, something that's big and yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Because Psycho Goreman does go big at the end, but like we don't really see much of it, do we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, by the way, Luke has the gem, having stolen it from Mimi. So yeah, as you implied, they say they're going to have a game of Crazy Ball to see whether Psycho Gorman will live or die, and it comes down to the old switcheroo once again. And Mimi rises to the occasion, punches Luke in the stomach, and they've won.
See, at this point, I don't believe that Luke would be on the other team. I feel like having him on the other team felt a little bit odd. It was a bit like, well, he's not the bad guy, surely. A bit forced, yeah, when they tried to like put some sort of conflict in between the siblings just to have him on the other team at the end. When having those four against the two Pandoras, well, even though one of them's their mum, would have kind of been fine as well.
Yeah.
Again, the mum being a bad person, I prefer. I don't know that there's something like it didn't quite fit in with the rest of the movie. The rest of the movie, it felt like a family movie, like where the family's unit's quite tight. Sibling rivalry is all fine and good, but I don't think they should have turned the son and the mum into all-out bad guys at the end, or all-out good guys, but on the wrong side.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe the mum had been. Maybe the mom had been Temple of Doomed by that blue squash, though.
Yeah. Potential.
Made her go funny. You need a little boy to tell her that they love her, and then they'll get better. Or did he burn? Or is it burning him with a torch that makes him better?
I'm not too sure. I think there could have been a better way around these final scenes. But
I think I agree there.
Yeah. So how does it end? So I think they have a proper scrap at the end anyway.
Pandora, despite having lost at Crazy Ball, Psycho Goreman gets the crystal back and gets his power back, but she's there with a heavenly sword, and is like, but you've got nothing to fight me with. So he makes a sword by ripping bits off her and making it. So by the time they actually get into the sword fight, she's already quite fucked. And then they have a sword fight. Psycho Goreman wins, but having promised that the family can live, he just opens like a portal and goes to about his business. But he does realize that he's learned an important lesson, which is about the power of love, which he will now use to destroy the universe.
Yeah, that's a good bit. He gave Pandora a warrior's death as well. Just ate her at the end.
Yeah, delicious.
Yeah, I really liked that the evil kind of wins.
Yeah,
and even like Mimi is still quite kind of evil in a lot of ways. Like, I really liked that kind of irreverent take on it.
Yeah, I especially love that he's like, and I won't kill your family, but then he just like teleports not to far away. He just goes to another city on Earth and starts destroying.
Yeah. Well, here on the Wikipedia it says it's their town. Watch as he begins to destroy their town.
Yeah, and they're like okay with it. They're like hugging and celebrating.
Never let his town anyway.
And they take Greg off to the hospital because he has broken his hand.
Yeah. Again to the hospital.
By high-fiving Psycho Goreman.
Oh yeah. Is it like a post-credits bit? I think we see the Planetary Alliance again saying, "Could we kill ourselves before Psycho Goreman gets here?"
I don't think I caught the. I think I thought I.
Did you stick around for the rap, Andy?
Yes.
There was a rap at the end.
Oh no!
PG for short. Like it was a proper rap that kind of
a rap that
summarized the plot of the film.
Very, very 90s.
I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to look that up. I was watching it quite late after the bloody horses and men. So when it does that, I gotta get to sleep.
What a double feature there.
Yeah. I got some name game for you guys if you're ready.
Oh yes.
Always ready.
Okay, so for new listeners, I'm going to describe a film I watched. So it's very similar to this one, but the name is slightly different. You'll pick it up. This first one I watched was about a family who find an ancient evil buried in the garden, and he wakes up and the kids name him after his crispy wafer exterior and molten marshmallow center.
Psycho S'mores
S'more
Man.
S'more Man.
Psycho Small Man. Yeah. So one I watched was about a family to find an ancient evil buried in the bedside cabinet in the top drawer.
Side.
Psycho Draw Man.
Psycho Drawer Man. A
I
family
was gonna
find an
say
ancient evil buried. A family find an ancient evil buried in the garden. Who wakes up and takes a knocking door to door, preaching the gospel of the Church of the Latter-day Saints.
Psycho More Man.
Psycho More Man.
Classic. That's a good one.
Family find an ancient evil buried in the garden who wakes up and takes over the world by being in charge of lots and lots of construction sites.
Psycho
Foreman.
Okay, this was a slightly different one. A bit of an artsy film, you could say. An old ancient evil sells his body for money. Sex, $10.
Psycho Whoreman.
I believe it's Psycho Sex Worker Man now. Like we don't use those words anymore, Ben.
Sorry, don't mean to.
So you've got to pay attention to the way they've presented the synopsis. An old ancient evil sells his body for money. Sex, $10. I think Andy might get this one.
You say like is it particularly the sex $10 bit?
No. An old ancient evil sells his body for money. Sex, $10.
He's trying not to get cancelled. That's pretty much what he's doing now.
Just luring him in. Come this way, Annie. Stand here.
I know, should we get John on the phone? He'll know.
I think I've done that right. Maybe I haven't. I'll give you a clue. It's kind of Japanesey. You definitely get cancelled now.
Is it the Japanese word for sex?
Forget about the sex stuff. Okay, I don't think
you're gonna have to tell me.
IQ Horman.
Oh, very good. Oh, because was that the right number of syllables? I wasn't counting.
575.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, 575.
Ancient evil.
I got half of it then, right?
Evil. I think it's 675. That's what threw you.
That's why.
What also threw me off is the fact that the Psycho was not a part of it in any of the other ones. So I was just thinking about that, and then the last one.
That was all part of the game. That's what this was really.
That was too cerebral for that this time on a Tuesday evening after we've watched this film of all things.
Yeah. Haiku Horman. Okay. We need to rate the film. I'm actually not too sure where I'm going to go. I'll decide after you guys have made yours.
I'm going to go. Sometimes I blow my beans, don't I? Too quickly. And also rate films too highly, just too quickly. I mean, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of time for it. I think maybe the finale was a bit underwhelming for me. Maybe, and again, like you said, Luke, maybe budgetary concerns, but it kind of gets a lot right. It's not got the most likable lead character. Well, I guess Psycho Goreman's the lead character, so he's note perfect. But I think I'd give it a B-, because I had a lot of fun with it. I like the style, and I feel like I tell people about it and tell people to watch it. Like, say, I think you'd enjoy this, and as an ode to things like Power Rangers, which I absolutely loved growing up, it hit all the right notes for me.
Yeah. Andy, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So I am slightly torn, like Ben, because if it's very difficult. There's a different thing when I know we've been through this before. Whether you're rating something as a horror film or rating it as how much you enjoyed it. I'm just gonna go for how much I enjoyed it in general. I think, like, yes, there are problems when it tries to really stitch things together when you get into the business of what the character arcs are and what the the serious bits where you stitch the story together. And now you've mentioned it, I wanted them to be giant for the finale. But
yeah,
on all of those individual moments, so those memorable scenes, the irreverent stuff and the real sort of tongue-in-cheek, over-the-top gore and horror elements with the comedy, it's really good. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it, and you guys have read enough stuff that I've written to know, like, if someone told me to write like a stupid horror, this is the type of thing I would do because I really like this type of stuff. So for me, gonna go a little higher than Ben. Or you know what, Ben? I'll blow my beans instead of you can change. I'm gonna go A minus.
Wow.
Oh,
I really
Okay.
like because
Wow.
I know I'm not gonna need much of a cool down on this. I'm gonna watch this again pretty soon. In fact,
I was thinking, like earlier when I said, Stalker is a very difficult film to recommend. This one I could recommend to anyone, knowing that they'll have a good time watching it. It's really, really watchable. I was just thinking about, imagine if we got to watch this in a crowd at a film festival.
yeah,
Like,
this
with
is
a bunch of
such a
people.
good festival film.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see it in that way. But it did so much so well, like it. But it just the story just lets it down. It just doesn't quite come together at the end. In the same way, it's similar to what I know about The Void. Like it did so much so well. It's even more disappointing because it kind of fumbled on the sort
At the
of
last
maybe
minute.
more. Yeah. So I mean, I'm probably go like a B minus. I think. I mean, I really like it, and then talking about it with you guys has actually made me appreciate it even more. Like some of the jokes, and some of the juxtaposition of how evil and dark the subject matter is, and how light it's played, does work. Like when he blows the kid up in the school for saying if he was like Halloween costume comment or whatever. Like it's
Yeah.
just funny, and like the friend Alistair, who gets turned into a brain monster, never turns back.
Oh, I did see an end credit scene with him when he was just like a
He,
Oh, yeah, he was
eating with his parents or something.
yeah,
with his
just
parents,
sat.
yeah.
Yeah,
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 it's so much fun. Would you like, especially for the budget it is? You know, obviously these things cost money, but obviously in the grand scheme of things, it costs less money than a lot of things. I'd watch a series of this.
yeah. I would. This should get picked up for like a should pick this up for a 6 episode TV show or something like that.
Yeah,
That
I'd
would be
watch a
amazing,
series
yeah.
of this week in, week out. I'd be tuning in.
Yeah, it will have that sort of what's that is it called Apocalypse? You know, they had the death metal band
Yeah, or Metalocalypse. Is that how you say
Metalocalypse.
that?
That's the one. Yeah, you can have that kind of niche appeal.
Yeah, I could really see myself getting into something like that, like a little mini series or something like that, because like it's got, again, looking at different parallels now. When we were thinking of films, I was thinking there are touches of the Wishmaster about it. There
Yeah,
are, there are all those other like horror bits that we touched on. Like when it comes to the series, because of the way they come, it could almost be like a more straight-faced, but the surrealism of like a Mighty Boosh or something like that as well, with your Power Range elements as well. Like it's
yeah, because the Mighty Boosh, they when they go for these crazy adventures, but it's so lo-fi that like it's obviously
Yeah.
just like like a really terrible set that have kind of felt tipped the decorations and stuff. They could get away with something similar with this. It's all those scenes where he's on a different planet. Like you can tell that he's not on a different planet. Like it doesn't look convincing at all, but it works so well for that type of for that hits that nostalgia of what we used to see when we were watching Lord Zed on Mars when he's just like a red tinted camera or whatever.
Yeah, and I just love to see giant Psycho Goreman smashing cardboard buildings in Angel Grove.
Yeah, and this
Definitely.
they could have done so much of that ending now. I'm thinking about it, like the one-upmanship you get in a lot of those battles, like where one gets bigger than the other. There's like the other team, maybe you could have made Mimi massive or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. It feels like there could have been some stuff to play
you
with there.
need you need someone's going to call up a Dragon Zord that's also going to attach to something else, and yeah,
Yeah, Psycho Goreman could have made a flesh thing
Oh,
come
yeah.
together on top of some flesh armor. Who knows? I don't know. It's good though. It's a good little concept.
Yeah.
Good idea.
and
Good
you know what?
times.
I think
Quite well.
the big thing is, would I watch it? Would I watch it again tomorrow? Yeah, probably. If someone said you're making another one, would I be excited? Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
100%.
All right. We've also just let listeners know we picked our next 4 movies. I think. what we're doing American Psycho. Oh no, this is one of them. Psycho Goreman, which we've done. American Psycho, the original Universal Mummy, and Cannibal Holocaust. Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
Cool. All right. Anyone want to say any last things?
No, I think we were saying earlier on, Luke, I think this is my longest streak of joining you for episodes. So thanks for having us for a few weeks.
Oh,
if you're a
Most
listener who enjoys 2 of the 3 podcast hosts, you get a nice break next week.
He's going to listen in and he's going to go, "That's not the 2 I meant."
Yeah. But is Ed joining you next week from the Trash Tapes? Is that right?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
And then
next week.
A Psycho double bill. So we're doing American Psycho next week with
And,
Ed from the Trash Tapes. So yeah, that should be pretty cool.
See you boys in a couple of weeks with a mummy.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Oh
Nice one.
yeah.
All right.
Looking
Be sure
forward
to
to it.
follow us on Twitter. Andy is at AndyCT Writes.
I am. Nailed it.
Ben is at Ben Errington, all one word.
Ben_Errington.
Oh.
Is it really? Are you changing it every time?
No.
Yeah.
He just
changing it every
deletes
week.
he just deletes or includes an underscore
promise.
based on what you say.
I swear I said underscore last time and you said no.
I've just changed it. No, listen back.
Okay. All right. Next time I'm just going to have to say the opposite to what I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm at Lukov Condor. That's Condor with a K. Go to the Facebook group. Go to Horror Hangout Board Advisors. Join us there. Thanks to Kovac Kalman for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to the listeners. There's a new thanks to leaving reviews. We'll read out some more, I think. I'll keep checking them. There's no like centralized place to check them all, so I have to go to all the different iTunes stores to see if anyone's left them. So maybe just message us on Facebook or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Give us a TripAdvisor review. Find the most creative place that you can leave a review for the podcast, and do specify which of the hosts you like. No, that'll be too triggering. Please leave it as vague as possible if there's anything you don't like. I'm not sure any of us can take it in the current world of 2021.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Nice one. Thanks.
Nice one, guys.
For being right,
See you
dudes.
soon.
Catch you in a bit. Bye. Bye.
All the best.